Alright, we're back with the Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day, Groundhog Day. Are you sick of waking up in the Matrix every day? Are you tired of the machine city sucking all your energy away? I have a solution. This is the Groundhog's Day video. Groundhog's Day marks the halfway point between winter and solstice and spring equinox. This is part of the Signs Everywhere Signs series. I believe this is Signs Everywhere Signs 4. So, we got 3 signs. We're going to start off in heaven. The one is the blue Hopi spiral in the sky. They said Beatles had Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. So you got a spiral in the sky. So then we're going to cover 2 signs in the sky for Matrix fans, because you got Neo up there twice. We just had the closest, or one of the closest ever near-Earth objects, which are called Neos, near-Earth object. And also we had the comet Neowise back in March of 2020. And then we'll get to why you keep seeing dualities, like why you see Neo twice in heaven, why, you know, I covered that in the white alligator video. We'll cover it again here with the quantum field and quantum entanglements. And then we'll get back to the spirals and how they create upward and downward motion. They can be the wind beneath your wings, or they can be downward spirals into hell. And then preview the next video, which I had to split this in 2, but recently I had 12 Monkeys make the news, and how that's a movie, and that's a neat movie about a time traveler going back in time, trying to tell the world to breathe clean air because a virus is getting ready to wipe them out. I don't know if that sounds familiar, but that's been the whole purpose of this channel. It's like I keep saying, I'm in an echo chamber here. So this movie is something that's like, it's one of those prophetic movies, one of many. Then you got Putin promising to nuke the US if it keeps messing with him in his war with Ukraine, which that's not getting much news. And also how the dollar's going to devalue, and you're not going to be able to buy or sell anything, just like it predicted in Revelations. That's in a future video. So we'll go back to here. Hope for First Nation, Hopi. Oh, yeah. As promised, we got a lot of crazy weather coming for the South. That was promised in the Friday the 13th video. Said severe weather for the South. And this is an ice blast from the past, because this I just saw in the news how all the officials were saying that it won't happen again, and the Texans won't lose power, and the power grid will be fine, and how prepared they were. And here we are. So this is how much you guys can trust your leaders and how much they know what's going on, man. Because there you go. You got 300,000's a lot. So back to the spiral. Spiral, they like to say it has something to do with some booster rocket, but they've been sending these booster rockets and, you know, launching stuff into space since the mid-60s. I mean, we went to the moon in '69. This is the first time one's appeared. And I want to point out that it's blue like my other stars. This is a sign specifically for the people who are looking for this sign. You got, the spiral represents the universe, and you can see on this drawing from the Beatles, he has spirals on his fingertips and the eye of Horus here. And it's funny because this represents the universe, and it's up there in the heavens where, like, if you look down at the galaxy, that's like the top view of our galaxy. And we're looking inside our galaxy out to like this is like a fractal. And that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to get real good at fractals and their relationships and your relationships with fractals. Most people are, it's one of the things you guys are just totally ignoring, and it's really not, it's not serving you well by ignoring this really important stuff. So then, like I said, we got 2 signs for Matrix fans right here. You got near Earth object is called a NEO. Right here, this green is like this is our satellite system for like our cell phones and stuff. And I think this passed through, it just passed through the closest approach to Earth. So you got the closest the NEO's ever been recorded anyways, that just passed through, what is it? I guess it doesn't really matter. Oh, it was found on January 21st. Okay. So then, you've also got the Green Comet, which is also coming the closest to Earth right now, too. And another comet, maybe most of you have forgotten about, is this comet called Neowise, which came right along with COVID, and COVID was dominating the news cycle, I know, but this was another visible comet, and this one was even named. You can see this one's just called the Green Comet. Neowise actually got a name, and its name is Neo and Wise. So, then what am I doing here? So, that's that. So you got 2 Neos named in the heavens. No.
Bizarre consequences when applied to competing realities. If your neighbor told you she had 2 cats, what?
This is going to explain why you're seeing stuff twice in a box, like all this, like why that mass shooter shot up 2 dance halls and it was 20 minutes away, and it was 2 miles away, and it had 2 of the same names, and all this duality you're seeing. This is another explanation for it.
Live cat and a dead one. This would imply that either the first cat or the second one is dead, and that the remaining cat, respectively, is alive. It would be a strange and morbid way of describing one's pets, and you may not know which one of them is the lucky one, but you would get the neighbor's drift. Not so in the quantum world. In quantum mechanics, the very same statement implies that the 2 cats are merged in a superposition of cases, including the first cat being alive and the second one dead, and the first cat being dead while the second one lives, but also possibilities where both cats are half alive and half dead, or the first cat is 1/3 alive, while the second feline adds the missing 2/3 of life. In a quantum pair of cats, the fates and conditions of the individual animals get dissolved entirely in the state of the whole. Likewise, in a quantum universe, there are no individual objects. All that exists is merged into a single one. Quantum entanglement reveals to us a vast and entirely new territory to explore. It defines a new foundation of science and turns our quest for a theory of everything upside down, to build on quantum cosmology rather than on particle.
That quantum entanglement works on fractal levels as well. It doesn't have to be, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Physics or string theory. But how realistic is it for physicists to pursue such an approach? Surprisingly, it is not just realistic, they are actually doing it already. Researchers at the forefront of quantum gravity have started to rethink space-time as a consequence of entanglement. An increasing number of scientists have come to ground their research in the non-separability of the universe. Hopes are high that by following this approach they may finally come to grasp what space and time, deep down at the foundation, really are. Whether space is stitched together by entanglement, physics is described by abstract objects beyond space and time, or the space of possibilities represented by Everett's universal wave function, or everything in the universe is traced back to a single quantum object, all these ideas share a distinct monistic flavor. At present, it is hard to judge which of these ideas will inform the future of physics and which will eventually disappear. What's interesting is that while originally ideas were often developed in the context of string theory, they seem to have outgrown string theory and strings play no role anymore in the most recent research. A common thread now seems to be that space and time are not considered fundamental anymore. Contemporary physics doesn't start with space and time to continue with things placed in this pre-existing background. Instead, space and time themselves are considered products of a more fundamental projector reality. Nathan Seiberg, a leading string theorist at the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton, New Jersey, is not alone in his sentiment when he states, "I'm almost certain that space and time are illusions. These are primitive notions that will be replaced by something more sophisticated." Moreover, in most scenarios proposing emergent spacetimes, entanglement plays the fundamental role. As philosopher of science Rasmus Jacksland points out, this eventually implies that there are no individual objects in the universe anymore, that everything is connected with everything else. Adopting entanglement as the world-making relation comes at the price of giving up separability. But those who are ready to take this step should perhaps look to entanglement for the fundamental relation with which to constitute this world, and perhaps all the other possible ones. Thus, when space and time disappear, a unified one emerges. Conversely, from the perspective of quantum monism, such mind-boggling consequences of quantum gravity are not far off. Already in Einstein's theory of general relativity, space is no static stage anymore. Rather, it is sourced by matter's masses and energy. Much like the...
Okay, so we're going to get back to spirals. There we go. So spirals, like I was saying, you got top view, like in blueprint reading, you got top view and side view. So spirals, from the side view, they can look like sine waves. And this is why you're looking at like an isometric view of a spiral. So if you're looking straight up on it, you see this thing here, which is the Hopi symbol. And if you're looking at it from straight left or right side, you'll see like it'll be a sine wave that's kind of dying off, well, depending on the direction, or growing in power. And this is what makes up most of our universe. And you can, these are cycles or bubbles or whatever you want to call it, but the whole world's made of cycles. You think about it, like most of your days are made up by stuff you did yesterday, and you're just continuing a cycle, and the cycles lift you up or lift you down, and they work on a macro and micro levels. And that's also how this world works and time works. You can think of time and space-time is like this. It's like a bottomless pit, and we're falling down through it. It's also like, not only is it a spiral, it's made up of spirals that spiral into it, like a multi-dimensional vortex that we're just falling through. And you can, in this, it does have walls, and you do create your own karma. So as you do stuff in this world, it echoes out, and then it hits the walls, and it comes back to you. And also the projection and manifestation all work the same way. And I did want to point out this guy is in Rumble, and he's the creator, considered the creator of what I consider real rock and roll, you know, the power chord. And I wanted to point out his name is Link, just like the Zelda character is, and Ray, as in Ra. So he has a link to Ra. It actually says it in his name. And that's people just aren't catching this stuff. They're just not, the signs are all there, you're just not putting the pieces together. I don't know how to explain it, like, other than you have stuff that's like right up on you, but nobody puts any of these pieces together. So you got, 12 monkeys made the news, CNN, CBS, Fox News, and there was a movie, and it, like I'm saying, it's like an echo chamber in here. Like, time traveling isn't simple. That's what I told you. It was hard to do. That's I'm telling you guys need to get breathing clean air. And the medical gatekeepers have ignored my cures. I've also cured your existing diseases. I'm not just telling you about the one coming up. But anyways, next video, We'll be covering the 12 monkeys and future signs like Putin. I mean, this is a past sign, but it's also coming up. Putin already threatened to nuke us, and you'll know when your dollar becomes worthless when the first bond auction fails. When you hear news that the bond auction fails, you know that's the beginning of your financial end. And that's coming with certainty. You know, this is up to a lot of factors as to whether or not this happens. But this, all you guys got to keep doing is doing what you're already doing. I mean, this one's locked in. You're heading right for it. So, thanks for watching. You know, February made me shiver with every bad news YouTube video I have to deliver, but I'm delivering it so that you can't say that you weren't warned and nobody told you.